The Valley Current.
Hey, Hardik.
How are you?
I'm good. I got you on here now, so let me just welcome you to the Valley Current.
What kind of podcast do you do generally, Jack?
So it's really about successful entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Really at the highest level, it often involves serial entrepreneurs. And serial entrepreneurs might be they opened up a little tiny business and sold it. And then they learned so much from that they opened a bigger business and sold it. I mean, we've had some people in their 70s who started their 8th company, and they may have failed 2 or 3 times before, and they think this is the one that's going to make it really big. And so we look for entrepreneurs all over the world. We meet them all over the world. A lot of them come to Silicon Valley from all over the world. We try to help them in Silicon Valley. But fundamentally, it's about human potential at the highest level. It really is how successful people use their time to create new value for the world. I think that's the really big picture of what we like to explore. And everyone's got a different journey. I mean, my journey started, I thought I was going to become a priest when I was in high school. And that quickly changed in college. And so, there's just a lot of stuff that, there's different stories and everyone has a different path. And you have a pretty unique path, I think, if I remember. So tell us more about it.
Oh, absolutely. So I think you know most of it already, but let me just try and give you a perspective. So I grew up in India in a small town, from an India perspective, a small town with a population of around 20 million people. Actually 2 million people, so 20 lakhs essentially. And essentially this started off as that's where I grew up. It's a small entrepreneurial business community in Gujarat. And I went to school there. I did my engineering in a different city, which had a population of close to around 5 million then, which is a larger city, obviously. And then we grew up as a upper middle class family, and we continued to kind of figure out how we would be in a position to ride the wave, essentially. And as I completed my engineering, I went into a job, first job on campus. Went to Mumbai. It's again a much larger city, so I continued to gradually move up.
It's one of the largest cities in the world. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that India is like the second largest country in the world after China. A lot of people don't even realize that the United States is a fraction of both India and China. And most people in the United States, even very smart people, don't realize that China is maybe doesn't have as much talent as India does. Fundamentally, India is way ahead on the evolutionary curve than China is.
I think China is equally good, and we continued to grow. So as a part of my tech journey, went into a company which was in Mumbai. I did not have much work to do, so I got bored. I thought that, what am I really doing? I thought that I'd probably go and study grad school. So I came to the US, studied at Texas A&M in College Station, and did my grad school in industrial and systems engineering. And then I was picked up on campus by a boutique management consultancy where I worked for a couple of years and decided to move out and start Searce.
It was a big decision, and it sounds like you didn't really have a lot of capital, but maybe you had some backing, or you just started on your own?
No, I started on my own, so I did not have much backing. I had all of my 401k converted into Google stock. I did not have much 401k. I wish I had more 401k than in 2004.
Right.
But that was a very good decision with whatever limited money I had. And I moved back and started Searce. And I thought that we used to work with a lot of management consulting, like business transformation consulting projects as a management consulting firms. And I used to be it was a small boutique firm. So probably around 40, 50 consultants, and we actually got to work. And talk less and do more was the mantra, and we essentially resulted into a good experience for me. And I decided to. But even then, what I learned is that we used to produce like those 60-page PDF for $3 million,
Right.
and we did not really used to do anything. And I thought that there is a room for us to create an execution-focused management consultancy wherein we actually do stuff in addition to advising. And that's why Searce was born, with the intent to be beyond advisory, execution, consulting, technology-based outcome generation company.
So you really did it from scratch. You did it from what you disliked, working at a different, bigger consulting firm that they talked a lot and did very little. That's often the way consultants are viewed. And you said, hey, our mantra is talk less and do more. And that resonated with clients and customers, I imagine, right?
Oh, absolutely, it did. It did. It was a fantastic thing. It was a journey that resulted into a fantastic eventual outcome. So we continued to grow this bootstrapped it and grew it for the last 21 years now.
How did you choose the name SEARC? Now H would be search, right? And Searce is with a CE at the end. How'd you choose that name? I'm just curious.
So very few 5-letter domain names with .com that actually mean something, and it's an English word.
Right.
So we wanted to have an English word which actually means to refine, to analyze, to improve. Searce means fine seal. It means a filter. We wanted to refine, analyze, and improve business outcomes, and that's how we kind of built got this name, because it actually meant what we are trying to do, and it was timeless in a way, because it is long term essentially.
Searce is an actual English word. I didn't know that.
Actual English word. It is.
Okay, I missed that.
I think it's very, very similar to search, and that's what you do when you are searching as well.
Right.
You are filtering and refining and improving. So this is actually to filter, refine, and improve business outcomes.
Right. Is that you on the stage? Because I don't.
No, that's not me. I don't know.
Else, right?
It's one of our. It's somebody who has been providing. Somebody else who has been probably giving a talk.
Okay. So you do consulting, and it sounds like you do it in a better way than most other firms in this area. That's generally what it sounds like, right?
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of big players, obviously, that do advisory work, but it sounds like you guys kind of get your hands dirty as well. You go right into kind of the operations of the business as well.
Absolutely. So we start with it's not just a beautiful slide deck. It's about when Searcians, when we see any new technology that shows up, we before people start Googling the release notes, we have started figuring out as to how we can drive impact engineering through that for some enterprise that helps them generate maybe $10-20 million business outcome.
Right. But do you do it just for Google, or you do it for Microsoft, and do you do it for, I guess, even IBM's got some cloud?
Yeah.
I guess Oracle.
Absolutely.
And
So
Oracle's
we
in
are
the
primarily
too,
modern tech stack, so we don't do anything IBM, but we do a lot of Google Cloud and AWS.
Okay.
And Databricks and the modern tech stack. So as you see, you might probably see quite a few partnerships that we have in the AWS, Google Cloud. So we are one of those premier partners with them. We do a lot of work with Databricks and Snowflake and Fivetran, Apigee, HubSpot. Yeah.
So when you originally thought of this business, did you think it would get it over the 20-year period as big as it's gotten? Because you now have like tens of thousands of consultants, right?
Oh, absolutely. I always thought that we would be in a position to grow, but I did not imagine that we would last for 20 years. Most companies kind of fail in a few years, and they decide to move out. We now have a presence across 12 countries, and so we kind of gradually built this across quite a few countries.
And what are the total number of actual consultants that are with or associated with Searce at this point?
We work with full-time mostly. We don't have generally contractors, so we have like maybe less than 10 contractors, but we have around 1,300 people.
A lot of people to manage, and it's a lot of people to deploy. And, the economy does have ups and downs, but it sounds like for you, there's almost an unlimited amount of business, just generally speaking.
Yeah, I think we get a lot of referral business on the basis of quality of work that we do. We get a lot of inbound. We generally get a lot of repeat business from existing accounts, and we have been able to keep ourselves busy. And we work on the new age tech, so there is always a shortage of the right kind of skill sets on the new age tech.
Right.
If OpenAI releases something, we generally have figured out as to there is some kind of an outcome that could be produced to that. So that would result into some kind of it's an ongoing net new reimagining various kinds of businesses, essentially.
I mean, it's got to be hard just to keep that many people staying with the firm. The biggest issue that I can tell you law firms have and many other knowledge working firms have is people vest their shares in Silicon Valley for maybe 2 years, and then they move on because they get offers. I mean, there's something in the newspaper last week that said that OpenAI was basically fighting Meta over poaching of people, and some of the people were getting these unbelievable offers, like tens of millions of dollars to come over from OpenAI to Meta, and maybe there was some that were going from Meta to OpenAI. And we have in California this very broad statute, which is Section 16600 of the Business and Professions Code. You cannot have a legal non-compete agreement that stops mobility. And so California is unlike other states like New York and certain other states that allow non-competes for employees. And so you lose talent because of competition. And I think you've been lucky, right?
Absolutely. And I think the way in which things have been growing, it is going to continue. So we continue to have that kind of a situation, but we have this engine that continues to firepower and figure out the net new people who would be in a position to come on board and drive things. And I think most states are becoming like California, and most jurisdictions are getting similar situations wherein it provides free mobility of talent and ensures that we are not in a position to kind of restrict anybody from moving anyways.
Right.
As such, unless there is a talent acquisition that has happened through some kind of an acquisition, and that acquisition requires people to stay for an X number of period. But I think it's and that was $100 million that Zuck is offering a few people
you
from.
You saw that too, right? You saw that too, and you were pretty amazed, right?
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, had a proposed rule that got squashed by the Trump administration, but people thought it was going to go through, saying nationally, you could not have a non-compete under federal law, essentially a federal ban on what has traditionally been a state-by-state approach across the 50 states. And that rule, everyone thought was going to go into place. It was drafted with a view that the mobility that occurs in California would be a good thing throughout the entire United States. And the Trump administration basically struck it down. We'll see whether it comes back in one form or another. But you're right. Most states actually now do lean more towards the California view. It's more like the East Coast states that seem to still be sort of locked into a much more traditional view. How does it work in India? Does India allow non-competes, or is India more like California?
It's more like California. Most states are more like California. So
it's a big problem. I assume that people say, hey, now I know 15 new things about OpenAI and Perplexity and Claude and all these other tools that are in high demand. and can get a better offer, and then you have to start a renegotiation, right?
Oh, absolutely. But I think people also want to work with the right kind of talent. And as long as there is a right ecosystem that is created and they are really ensured, like they have a significantly high vertically inclined learning path, they are more happy to stay on for a few more years because, hey, you learned a little bit about Perplexity and OpenAI, but what about what's coming next? And you can probably start and join Ford Motor Corporation and start using Perplexity and deploying something for them, or probably leveraging some OpenAI APIs to do some use case for a large enterprise. But then eventually, your sharpness of learning curve would stay on if you stayed with a diversified consultancy that uses multiple technologies to drive outcomes.
I mean, we have in the legal industry a revolution that's happening, and it's surprising the older lawyers, which is all of the younger lawyers want to use some version of AI, and the older lawyers who really are questioning it and wondering whether they're going to be embarrassed by it are trying to fight back. But I have to tell you, the younger lawyers are winning the battle because the work gets generated, at least a draft version, gets generated much, much faster than the old way of doing it. And frankly, there are many clients that are demanding that the lawyers push to a more AI first law firm. And the older people are just not used to it. I mean, these are people who took the bar exam back in the day when you used a yellow pad with a pen or a pencil with an eraser on it. And if you took the bar exam and you typed with maybe an electric typewriter, that was a big deal. There was no computer, there was no nothing. And when computers finally got to a point where they became cost effective and everyone seemed to get one, you know, back in the luggable day, if you remember that goes way back, a lot of people resisted it and said, I'm not becoming a secretary. And these days, most lawyers have a computer or two computers or three computers and anywhere from 2 to 6 screens going on at the same time. And now they're realizing that one of those screens or maybe several of those screens can be some version of some large language model tool. And they're going back between the screens, but they don't like it. The older lawyers don't like it because it really disrupts the way they think about research getting done, which is they really don't expect to see some AI tool generate so much volume of information so quickly that you have to be almost a speed reader to be able to absorb it all. And I would imagine Absolutely. With your knowledge people, they just embrace all of it, right?
Absolutely, I understand. And I think it has always continued like that. And I think it will be, as we continue to scale different parts of the technology with different enterprises, I have continuously seen that the new will continue to disrupt the old, and unless you have some kind of a significant competitive advantage, which requires a significant capital expense. But even then, I think Elon is proving them wrong. Like, how much capital expense is required to set up a manufacturing unit? And all those capital-intensive industries are used to really have significant competition, especially the ones in the regulated industries as well.
Right.
But yeah, we do a lot of helping companies futurify their business. We reimagine as to how companies can, how we can help them reimagine what's next, redefine the how of what's next, and then realize that next now. And that's what we spend time doing. And with the current refresh on the technology, I think there is a room for companies to just do something like YC. I just was reading that YC wants companies to, rather than trying to build a software to futurify a law firm, just build a law firm. Right. And rather than trying to build a software or tool which will help insurance company process claims faster, just become an insurance company. And that's the way in which things are trending these days.
Although various venture capital firms are saying, no, we know how to tell good entrepreneurs from bad entrepreneurs. We know how to tell good teams from bad teams. You know, the reality is we may get to a point where the actual AI/AGI can do a better job at seeing whether or not the team leader and the team is actually synced up in a way that can produce a lot of value. But recently, the Andreessen Horowitz firm said, no, VC firms will exist forever because we know how to spot talent. But I have to tell you, there'll be someone that says there's a way to actually scientifically look at talent and scientifically look at whether or not that talent, like the money ball of a baseball team, can be turned into a very valuable group of people in analyzing various data of what they're able to do together. But I'll find that quote by Andreessen, because someone commented that, of course, Mark Andreessen thinks he's got the only job that's not replaceable, but everyone else is replaceable. But he and others at his firm are irreplaceable. I mean, it's an interesting thought, right? Because at some level, what we're saying is these tools will eventually create much more effective and much more efficient firms. And that's the reality of where it's going, right?
Yeah, Jack. What are you seeing with the various companies that your law firm is consulting with these days?
We see a lot of people at what I call kind of the slideware stage. In fact, I just got off of a different Zoom with one of them, where they've got essentially an idea, and the real question is, can they turn it into something that can be as successful as what you've done over your 20 years, or what Apple has done? You know, my first law firm, we started Apple Computer. What Apple has done over basically the last 45 or 50 years. I mean, fundamentally, Apple is probably going to have its 50th birthday, I think, next year, from when it actually got formally started. It actually started originally as just a general partnership of Jobs, Wozniak, and this third partner who was doing nothing. When Jobs and Wozniak came to the law firm, they wanted to get rid of this third guy who they thought was basically, and this third guy has gone very public about, yeah, it didn't work out for me, and I don't really feel that upset about it. He would have probably been a billionaire had he been able to stay, but they got rid of him. And this guy, Mike Markkula, came in with a line of credit guarantee, didn't even come in with any money. And he ended up getting 25% for signing a one-page Bank of America guarantee that would allow Bank of America to issue a line of credit for $100,000 that was used to basically buy parts. I mean, $100,000 was a lot of money back then, and the guarantee was worth something. But he got 25% of the company. He never. I don't think he ever really put any actual cash in. I think he just basically was there as a safety net. I mean, it's a great position when you have so much wealth. He had made a bunch of money at Intel. I mean, it's a great story. There's going to be a new movie that's coming out about Apple, and I mean, there's basically something in the works.
The number of movies that have been done on Apple and Steve Jobs is just amazing. That's one more coming out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one more coming out that's supposed to be a lot more realistic, but I can tell you a lot of the people that really were involved legally at the early stage, they've all died. Like, I'm one of the survivors, but I was just a young attorney, and there were senior partners, like senior people that could have gotten stock for services, and like idiots, of course, they just missed it. And, you know, they looked at it like eventually the whale that got away. But, you know, it's really great stories there.
Of course.
And so we see a lot of people at that very early stage, and we try to figure out if we can help them and how we can help them, because usually they're not so much strapped for ideas. They've got good ideas, and they're not strapped anymore for trying to flesh those ideas out on paper, because the tools allow you to do that fast. They're more strapped for who's the right partner, who's the right first board member, who's the right salesperson, who's the right marketing person. They're looking for talent. Talent is very expensive in Silicon Valley because Google and Meta and Apple and everyone else that's here in the Valley, basically, they're willing to pay huge dollars, which of course inflates the real estate. It inflates almost everything in the Valley. And, fundamentally, those big companies offer pretty good benefits because they typically have some training and learning and regular ways to make sure people feel like they're advancing their skill set. And that's got to be part of your business. Like the whole training element has got to be huge, right?
Absolutely. That's where we spend a lot of time on and a lot of energy on. And since I'm based in the Bay Area as well, so it takes it takes a lot of effort. But like the whole downtown is now flooding with all the offices that used to be empty and have suddenly filled up. Where are you based out of? Are you in LA? Or?
So we have offices in Silicon Valley, in downtown Palo Alto. We actually own the building in downtown Palo Alto. We have offices in Tampa. We own a building, actually a whole campus in Tampa. And we have offices in New York City. I'm licensed in all three jurisdictions, actually a few others as well. And really, we look at the Silicon Valley way as spreading across the United States. It's definitely in New York. It's definitely now come to Tampa. Kathy Wood, who runs this ARC ETF, actually moved from New York to St. Petersburg, which is kind of the beach town near Tampa Airport. And, she controls a big fund that does some really interesting investing in various technology companies. I don't think her fund has done all that well, frankly, but she's definitely brought the attitude that there are places to live that may provide a better quality of life generally than Silicon Valley or anywhere in New York. I mean, New York real estate is just as bad. When I talk to my friends in New York, they're all like, you can't get a place to live in Manhattan for less than $5 million. It's just unbelievable. And I think that's probably true in Silicon Valley now as well, if you really want a big house.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's funny in a way because there are people that live in these 1,000 square foot cottages and they say, oh, yeah, I love my house. It's worth $3 million. Like $3,000 a square foot, that would be unheard of years ago, right?
Of course. Yeah, I understand that.
You probably have a competitive advantage because a number of your people are in India and maybe the price for town is a little bit lower than Silicon Valley in India to some degree.
Absolutely, there is. And it's not just India, like we have presence in 12 countries. So we have delivery centers in many locations and majority of our delivery centers are based in India. So yes, it does offer a competitive advantage, not just in terms of the cost, but also in terms of just the availability of talent and accessibility of the right kind of talent that would be willing to do stuff and learn stuff. And yeah.
And I think the other amazing aspect of your business is you don't do the traditional Silicon Valley stock option vesting and whatnot. You just use cash money and cash bonuses to keep people happy and engaged, right?
Absolutely. There is, yeah, there are some long-term incentives for the right people who kind of generate the right amount of impact. But we don't generally have to do a lot of like Silicon Valley has every startup offering every company, whether it's a 100,000 people company or a 5,000 people company or a 50 people company, everybody gets an ESOP. Now, at some point, people lose the value of real ownership because it doesn't really mean real ownership. It's just everybody gets it.
Right. Yeah. But that's an interesting benefit in some ways for you because I don't think you got any big VC money or really any big outside money at all. You just grew the business organically over 21 years, right?
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, that's a huge, just a mega advantage because you don't have a bunch of we call them suits, people that maybe have MBAs and maybe they've got a little bit of smarts, but they don't really know customers. They don't really know a business. They don't really know really much about technology, but they think they do. And they think that getting an MBA makes them somehow brilliant. But the reality is they often don't do anything. They do a lot of thinking and a lot of talking. And it's kind of your mantra going back to the beginning of this. How about we actually talk less and do more? I mean,
absolutely.
That wouldn't fit in. So yeah, it's you're kind of an outlier. You and your business are kind of an outlier. So you you made some strategic decisions that are quite unique and have made you amazingly successful. So bravo to you for making that all work. Seriously.
Thank you for setting this up, and let's try and catch up at an appropriate time.
Yeah, we'll do another one, and we'll do some stuff in person, because I've got some big ideas about what an AI first law firm will look like in the second half of the 21st century. Hopefully we all live that long, but this stuff is moving very fast. And this idea of an AI first fill in the blank, AI first accounting firm, AI first law firm, AI first architecture firm, even architecture firm, AI first medical practice. I mean, all of these businesses share the fact that they have to take advantage of knowledge. They have to take advantage of AI that can make that knowledge more actionable. And then they have to make sure that the people that are standing behind the service or the product take the advantage of the AI in a way that really makes it amplify them. And then the people that are laggards can basically say, oh, you're putting up a cartoon that really says it all, right? Oh, this is one of your cartoons. What are we looking for? Real solver. 200-page, 18-month transformation roadmap. Page 87 explains how to form a committee. Or fix it today and leave by 5. That's you. That's good. That's perfect. Did you have AI generate the cartoon for you, or did you get it
absolutely.
That's good. That's really good. So you're bringing some comedy into it, because I think you do need to bring some comedy into it, because people are having a hard time believing that this is even possible. And I can tell you, 35 years ago, I saw some of the very earliest AI companies that were doing the if-then-else type of AI, the rules-based AI. And we represented one of them. It was originally from France. It was called Neuron Data. And Neuron Data came to Silicon Valley, 2 French guys. And I'm trying to reconnect. I may be in Paris next month. I'm going to try to reconnect with the founders, because they sold the business eventually and did well in the sale, but nowhere near where things are today. And I bet they're going to look back and say, man, we should have got off of the rules-based thing and moved entirely into the direction that OpenAI took advantage of. Had they done that, they would have been talking, trillions of dollars, because they were one of the first. They really were one of the first groups of people that said artificial intelligence will be a big part of computing in the next 20 to 30 years. They were there in the 1980s saying that. And so a lot of people didn't believe them, but they were spot on. And the 2 founders were Dr. Alain, his CEO was Patrick Perez. And Patrick Perez was like Steve Jobs, very flamboyant, very well dressed, very, very great presentation. But Alain, was really the thought leader, the sort of, hardcore guy. And they've got to be in their, maybe their 70s now. I got to look. I did look them up, and they're both back in Paris. So the next time I get to Paris, I'm going to definitely knock on their door and tell them I need to sit down with them and just reminisce, because we did a lot of big deals. We did a lot of big deals at the time back in the 80s.
They're probably using Mistral AI now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably very much. Anyway, you take care. We'll get together next time. Talk to you later. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Tune in next time on The Valley Current.